In this next video, I'm going to talk about how to use the print stock label screen. When you print stock labels, you can be at the top level or you can be at the store level. In this example, I'm at the store levels for store 1. And then you're going to go to Inventory, you're going to go to Labels, and you're going to go to Print Stock Labels. When you come into the print stock label screen for the first time, you're going to have to tell it what printer you're going to be printing to. So you'll just click on this drop down to the right of printer and you will select your printer that you're going to be printing the labels to. So in this first box we have the printer selection, the print set. This lists all of the batches that you've printed in the past. So if you ever want to restore any of these batches, we can just select one of these batches and we can click on Restore Labels and print those out. The reprint labels will reprint the last batch of labels that you printed. Then to the right we have the printing format box. So this is where you're going to select which kind of printer you're going to use, whether it's a Zebra, a LaserJet, or a Datamax. I'm going to choose the laser for this example. Then we have the label template. If you're using a laser, it's going to be the Avery 5160s if you're doing the 3x10 sheets. If you're printing smaller labels, you're going to do the laser 5x10. So 5160 is the normal regular size. You have Show All Labels. That would show even labels that are not coded to store labels. If you had like manufacturer UPCs and on the SKU you had it coded to none instead of regular labels. Otherwise you can uncheck this. Then you have the print date. So if you wanted to print the date on the label and the date prints backwards. If you want to print your store name, you want to check that. If you want to print the UPC number, the 12-digit UPC number under the barcode, you want to check that. And then there's price to print. If you click on the drop down, you're going to see active price or no price. And we're going to choose active selling price. Then if you want to print the store number at the top of your label sheet, you can click on this. So if you have multiple stores and you wanted to know which one was store 1 labels and which one was store 2 labels, etc., then you could check that and the first label would just say store 1, and then when it got to store 2 you'd see a label that said for store 2. If you have any kind of custom labels that we've done for you or you've set up, you'll also see those label templates to the right of label template. So we all know whenever we're receiving a purchase order or just receiving stock without a purchase order, when we go to save it, it not only puts it into our on hand, but it stores labels to print. So once you receive something, all you have to do is come to this print stock labels. You'll see these labels sitting there and then you can print them out. The same goes for if you were using enter stock labels. Like maybe you had a style that you did not have a label for, it fell off the box and you needed to re-enter that label. You know, it was already in your inventory. That's when you use the enter stock labels, and maybe you've entered some stock labels and then you're ready to print them, and those will show up here. Once you print your labels, physically print your labels, that will go away down below. You won't see those labels. So once you print them, you won't see them down below here, so you don't have to worry about all of these labels staying on your list forever. So if you wanted to see everything in the label file and how many labels you have sitting here waiting to print, you can click on this check uncheck all. That'll tell you how many labels are sitting in here that have never printed. As you know, in an organization you may have several users. So you might have several users entering in different labels. You'll probably want to sort this by your user. If you're a multiple store or have several users that either receive merchandise or enter stock labels to be printed. So if you put in your user and clicked on lookup, it's just going to bring up labels that are ready to print for your user. And then if I click on the check uncheck all, it's going to tell me how many labels I have in the current label file under my user. So you can see that that number went down considerably. I could even go a step further. Maybe for some reason I only wanted to print my New Balance labels for my user. I could go over to the supplier and put in the New Balance code and click on Lookup. Now if I clicked on the Check Uncheck All, I'll see these are all of the New Balance ready to print out for me. If I change this, say to A6, then I can click on Check Uncheck All, and it shows that I have 18. Maybe I just wanted to print out these. I could do this for the sort, look it up, and I could click on Print Labels down at the bottom. Or if I made a mistake and, I just want to delete all of my A6 labels that I put in, I could do this Check Uncheck All and click on Delete Selected Labels. And it's going to only affect my lookup, what I've selected. It's only going to delete the checked items. And you'll see there's many different ways that you can look up and sort things. By location, by store, by user, by class, by supplier, by SKU. Then you can go down here. You could click on Entered On, and that would sort it by when they were entered. The quantity, you could sort it by SKU. You could sort it by description, sort it by supplier code, by column, by row, by color, by location, by on hand, or by entered by. So if I wanted to sort this by supplier code, I could just click on supplier code and it would sort it alphabetically by supplier. So here I have A6, and then if I scroll down, you'll see the next supplier alphabetically. So now if I just want to print out my New Balance, I can go to the supplier, I can put in the New Balance code, and I can click on Lookup. It'll bring up just my New Balance ones for my user. And then I can go ahead and click on the Check Uncheck All checkbox. It will put a check mark in all of these. And now when I'm ready to print, I can click on Print Labels. So now I should have a set of labels sitting on my printer waiting for me for the New Balance. Now any of my New Balance will be gone. So if I go to try to look up New Balance and click on Lookup, nothing will come up because I've already printed those out. It clears that print queue. Now if I made a mistake and say my printer jammed and I want to print that batch of New Balance, maybe I've been printing labels left and right and it's 3 batches ago, I can easily go up to this print set. I can click on the drop down and I can choose that batch that I just printed out. Once I select that, I can click on Restore Labels and they show up down below. And then I can click on Check Uncheck All, checksum, and I can click on the Print Labels, and that'll print that batch that I just selected. Or if it was the very last batch that I just did, I could click on Reprint Labels and print labels. And that gives you an overview on how the PrintStockLabels works.